Welcome to my life today. I want to start today's conversation with one simple question. If someone reports to you at work, when was the last time you had a conversation with them that wasn't about deadlines, targets, performance reviews, or project updates? When was the last time you sat down over a cup of tea or coffee and asked, how are you really doing? Not as a formality, not while walking to a meeting, not because your HR told you to, but because you were genuinely curious about the human being sitting across from you. Most managers struggle with this question, and I think I know why. Somewhere along the way, we have been taught that professionalism means keeping people at a distance. We have been taught that personal life belongs outside the door, that emotions are distraction, that work is work, life is life. It sounds like a good theory. The problem is that human beings don't work that way. Maybe AI does, I don't know. People don't walk into an office every morning and leave their marriages, their financial worries, sick parents, grieving heart, anxious minds, or struggling children neatly parked outside. They bring all of it with them every single day. And whether we acknowledge it or not, it shows up in their performance. I saw this repeatedly throughout my career in HR. A manager would come to me frustrated. Swati, this employee used to be brilliant. They've become unreliable. They are making mistakes. They don't seem engaged anymore. Now, could that have been a performance issue? Absolutely. Not every performer or not every poor performer is carrying some deep personal struggle. Sometimes performance is simply performance. But I learned very early in my career that before we judge behavior, we need to understand context. So instead of immediately scheduling a formal meeting and performance discussions, I often started somewhere much simpler: a coffee, a casual conversation, a genuine check in. And what I discovered time and again was that there was usually a story beneath the behavior. One employee who made a significant financial error was going through a divorce. Another employee had a father who was seriously ill. He had been taking frequent leaves but never felt comfortable enough explaining why to the manager. So he simply kept writing personal reasons on his leave requests. From the outside, it looked like disengagement. From the inside, it was overwhelm. And that's the danger. We don't know people's stories. And when we don't know it, we fill those gaps with assumptions. We assume they don't care. We assume they are lazy. We assume they are not committed. We assume they aren't trying. Sometimes the truth is very different. One situation has stayed with me for years. A young woman in the organization was struggling with depression. Her manager knew something was wrong. He genuinely cared, but he was completely stuck. If he ignored her, her performance would continue to suffer. If he pushed harder, he was worried that it might make things worse. If he explained the situation to the rest of the team, he would be violating her privacy. He didn't know what to do. So he came to the HR. And honestly, this is where I think organizations often fail managers. We promote people because they are technically competent. Then suddenly we expect them to manage human complexities without ever teaching them how. Nobody teaches them how to handle grief. Nobody teaches them how to handle burnout. Nobody teaches them how to handle mental health struggles. Nobody teaches them how to have difficult human conversations. We hand them responsibilities for people without giving them the relational skills to lead people. So I started with something simple, a coffee conversation, 30 minutes. No agenda, no forms, no performance matrix. Just a human being sitting with another human being. Over time, we created regular check ins every fortnight, I think. Nothing dramatic, nothing groundbreaking, just consistency. Just someone who was willing to listen. And a few months later, she started seeing a therapist. Gradually, her confidence increased, her energy returned, and eventually, she became one of the strongest performers in the company. Now, before anyone misunderstands me, I'm not suggesting that depression can be solved with coffee. I'm not suggesting that every struggling employee simply needs a supportive manager. Mental health is far more complex than that. What I'm saying is awareness is often the first step towards change. People cannot solve problems they feel they must hide. And many people are carrying burdens that nobody knows about. Sometimes what they need first is not advice, not solutions, not pressure, not just evidence that they are not alone. One conversation, a safe space, someone willing to ask one more question instead of making one more assumption. Because every employee is a human being before they are a performer. And this is where I think many organizations get it backwards. We spend enormous amount of money trying to improve performance, but very little time building relationships. Yet, performance is often the outcome of relationships. Relationships creates trust, trust creates safety, safety creates honesty, and honesty creates accountability, and accountability drives performance. The question isn't whether relationship belongs at work. The question is how much performance we lose when we ignore them. So if you are a manager, a leader, a founder, or someone responsible for people, here's my challenge to you. This week, pick one person on your team, invite them for coffee. Not a performance discussion, not a project update, a conversation, real conversation. Ask them how they're doing. Ask them what's been difficult lately. Ask them what's going well. And then listen, really listen. You may not solve their problem, that's not your job, but you might create the kind of trust that changes everything that comes after. Because people rarely give their best work to organizations, they give their best work to people who make them feel seen. And if conversations like these resonate with you, please follow me. Because whether we are talking about marriages, family, friendship, or workplace, I've seen the same truth repeat itself for years. Most problems that look like performance problems are actually relationship problems. And most relationship problems don't start with conflict, they start with disconnection. Follow me for more conversations on relationship, emotional intelligence, leadership, and the human side of performance that nobody teaches us, but all of us need. Thank you for being with me here today. Have a great day and a wonderful Monday.